Welcome to Nazmun's channel. Hello viewers, how are you? I'm Nazmun Nahar, assistant teacher of Foundation School, Lalmatia, Dhaka. Today I am going to take class of class 9 and 10, subject Bangladesh and Global Studies. Observe the following pictures carefully. What can you see in the picture? Look at the first one. It's written, it's a bank. And look at here, it's written here tax. And next see, it's written here budget 2019-20. And there is the logo of the Bangladesh Bank. And in the another picture, it's written the tax and revenue. So what kind of thing what can you imagine by seeing the picture? What can be our topic? I think all of you could guess. Yes, today I'm going to discuss about the financial and banking system of the government of Bangladesh. This is chapter 13. After finishing this chapter, students will be able to explain the concept of government financial system. They also be able to understand the sources of income of the government of Bangladesh, and also they can explain the heads of expenditure of the government of Bangladesh. They also can explain the concept, the type of bank management of Bangladesh. So let's discuss the topic. First, we have to know what is public finance management. So, to discuss the topic properly, first we have to take a very clear idea about public finance management. What is PFM? So generally, the public finance management means the policies and methods regarding the income and expenditure of the state. So Professor Dalton says public finance is concerned with the income and expenditure of the government and with the adjustment of the one to another. That means the policy or the method which discuss or talk about income and expenditure of the state is known as public finance management. Now we'll come to know about the sources of income of Bangladesh government. The government has two important sources of income. Look at the first one I have written here, that is the tax revenue. So the first source of income is the tax revenue. What is tax revenue? The taxes which are imposed on people and various business firms and industries are known as tax revenue. We can give some example like income tax, then customs, then excise duty, then VAT, etc. Now look at the another source, and that is extra tax revenue. What is extra tax revenue? The income sources of the government, besides tax and the duty, are known as extra tax revenue. So what can be the sources of extra tax revenue of the government? Suppose I can give example, dividend and profit, interest, economic service, the railway, the postal department, the telegraph and telephone, etc. So in short, we can say that the government has two main income sources. First one is tax revenue, and the next one is that extra tax revenue. Now look at here, I'm going to discuss about the tax revenue. That what are the sources of the tax revenue of the government? Look at the diagram carefully. In the middle, I have written the first source, that is the customs. Okay, in tax revenue, the first item is that customs. What is customs? That means a tax which is imposed on the exported and imported goods of the country is called customs. That means the tax which is imposed on export and import goods. Okay. Next, I'm going to discuss about the excise duty. What is excise duty? The tax which is imposed on the goods produced and used inside the country is called excise duty. In addition, the revenue collection, excise duty also imposed on the purpose of reducing the consumption of various harmful things. Suppose in Bangladesh, excise duty is imposed mainly on tea, sugar, tobacco, kerosene, medicine, spirit, match, wine, gaja, and afim. Now, next one is about income tax. So the tax which is actually imposed on the personal income, that is known as income tax. Next come is that VAT, that is value added tax. Okay, so the value added tax, it is usually known as VAT. Okay, at present in our country, VAT has been imposed on imported and locally produced good and some fixed services. Next, I'm going to discuss about the supplementary duty. What is supplementary duty? The duty which is imposed on some goods in addition to the custom or excise duty or VAT is called the supplementary duty. This is one of the main source of the government's income. So supplementary duty means that the duty which is imposed on goods, the taxes which already impose, suppose the customs and excise duty and also VAT is imposed, that is called supplementary duty. Next one is that land revenue. Look at here, land revenue, another source of the government. That means the tax paid to the government for the possessions of the use of land is known as land revenue. Suppose if I have land, I have to give tax to the government, but there is a limit. The income of the government in this sector has been increased to some extent. As a result, the government's expectation of the land tax up to 25 acres. So next one comes non-judicial stamps. The government earns huge amount of money from the stamps used for various documents and application regarding judiciary, passport and exchange bill, etc. So this is also the non-judicial stamps also is another source of income of the government. Now come the registration. Okay, that is another source of income, registration. So the registration fee is paid for deed registration and court fee is paid for lawsuits. The government earns enough money from this source. Next come is the vehicle tax. Look at here, the vehicle tax. The tax paid for the registration of vehicles is known as vehicle tax. Suppose I have any kind of vehicles, so I have to do the registration. For this purpose, I have to give tax to the government. Next come is that wine duty. Look at here, the red color is what? A wine duty. The government earns some money by imposing duty on wine, gaja, afim, and from many other things. And finally, we'll see that electricity duties, okay, electricity duty. The government has income from the electricity duties. So we got some sources here. Look at the first one, I have written the customs, then come registration, income tax, electricity duty, wine duty, value added tax or VAT, vehicle tax, supplementary duty, land revenue, and non-judicial stamps, okay, and excise duty. So these are the main sources of what income of the government, and these all are included in the tax revenue. Now, I would like to discuss about the extra tax revenue, that is another source of income of the government, okay? So what are these extra tax revenue? The first one I have written dividend and profit. Dividend and profit. That means the government gets dividend and profit from various financial organizations such as bank, insurance company, and various non-banking financial organizations, park, zoo, etc. Okay, next come is that interest. The government gives loan to the various financial and autonomous organization, and from their government receive interest, and that is the main source of the income of the government. Next come the economic service. So what kind of economic service does government give? The government also earns through giving some economic facilities to the people. Among these, tourism, banking, travel, and services are notable. Okay. Next come is about the railway. Though railway is a source of government income, there is often deficit in this sector, so it's no. But this is also, of course, a source of income, the railway. Next comes the postal department. Since the postal department of the country is run by the government, it is also a source of government's income. Next is it's written here, the telegraph and telephone. Telegraph and telephone system is run by the government. It is another source of the government's income. And next I have written what? Toll and levy. What it is? The government earns worth mentioning amount of money in the toll and levy. Toll is a kind of revenue which is unlike the taxes imposed on income. The government earns this revenue in exchange of providing various services to the people. For example, I can give that the government earns by collecting money at bridges, culverts, ports, haat, and bazaars. And levy is a tax imposed on and collected from people at a particular time on a particular purpose. Suppose the tax levied on the purpose of Podda Beach. Next comes rent and lease. The government also earns through renting and leasing government property. And finally, I have written the next point is that fine, penalty, and forfeiture. So the government of Bangladesh earns an amount every year through fine, penalty, and forfeitures. So these are the extra tax revenue or the sources of income of the government. So again, I can say that the extra tax revenue from where the government actually collects money, that is dividend and profit, interest, the economic service, the railway, the postal department, the telegraph and telephone, the toll and levy, the rent and lease, and finally, fine, penalty, and forfeitures. So we have discussed about the government's income, that is tax revenue, and look at here, tax revenue, I have discussed it, and next one is the extra tax revenue, okay? Now, I think all of you understood what I have discussed, okay, the source of government income. So here for your evaluation, I have written 3 questions, very simple question. First one is that what do you understand by PFM, that is public finance management? So if I ask you the question, how can you give the answer? You can easily see that public finance management is a policy or the methods regarding the income and expenditure of the government. So number 2, what are the main income sources of the government of Bangladesh? The main income sources of the government of Bangladesh is the tax revenue, okay? Number 3, what do you understand by VAT, that is value added tax? Value added tax is usually known as VAT, and at present in our country, VAT has been imposed on imported and locally produced goods and on some fixed services or the sectors. So these 2 questions, very simple questions I have written here for the evaluation. Now students, what you have to do, you have to read the main sources of income of the government of Bangladesh. These are, the first one is the tax revenue and another one is the extra tax revenue. In tax revenue, if we go back, we can see the tax revenue, there are the customs, the judicial stamps, excise duty, registration, income, electricity duty, wine duty, VAT, legal tax, supplementary duty, land revenue. And if we look at the extra tax revenue, there is dividend and profit, interest, economic service, railways, postal department, telegraph and telephone, toll and levy, rent and lease, and fine and penalty. These are the sources of government's income. So I think that's all for today. Keep watching my videos and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thanks to all. Thank you very much.